Well, this just happens to be a gorgeous week. And if we had been here last week, it rained, it was cold. When I drove into Las Vegas on Thursday afternoon, I got out of my car to put gas in at a gas station. Man, I had to get my jacket out and zip it up. It was just plain cold. And I thought I should have brought my, what do you call those hats? You know, stocking cap and gloves. But, but anyway, this is gorgeous. What we're going to do is walk up to the dam and back along the irrigation ditch that you're looking at, that I'm standing on top of. And the irrigation ditch is about 1.25 miles long, and I would guess that 2/3 of it is ahead of us, so it's a bit of a hike, and then the rest of it goes around the village. It follows the outer edge of the village. The village sits on terrace level 2. T2 is how they express it. They put a T and a little 2. There's T1 below the T2. That's terrace 1. And they have the village up high enough that it presumably will not be affected by floods from the Pecos. And the irrigation ditch literally just draws a line, an outline around the edge of 3/4 of the village before it then curls back over there to head back into the Pecos, and where the water rejoins the stream. So we're going to look at the ditch, we're going to look at the dam, and we'll stop along the way and talk about a few things. Then we're going to come back and we're going to go to the church, and I have the key to the church. We're going to go in, but I want to say a few words standing out in front of the plaza. Well, standing in the plaza with the church in front of me. Now, let me point out before we head out that right here, you can see how the land goes down to the Pecos, and this is on purpose because this was the vado, V-A-D-O, and the word vado in Spanish means ford, and this was how they forded the river to begin to go on the other side of the stream. You can't go on this side of the stream. You're going to see that as we start walking up. Man, this gets precarious. We're going to be clinging to a cliff. The irrigation ditch clings to a cliff. So you can't go up this side. So the way the early villagers got to La Cuesta, the ridge is La Cuesta, which was then renamed Villanueva. And Villanueva is a surname. It means new village, literally, but it's really a surname. And this guy that I just paid off over here, who's doing the cement, is named Edward Villanueva. And there are a lot of Villanuevas that live in Villanueva. So the postmaster was named Villanueva when they decided to change the name from La Cuesta to Villanueva. But the way the villagers got upstream to Villanueva was to ford the river right here with horses or with horse-drawn wagons, and then proceed up the other side, but they had to ford the river 7 times before they could get to Villanueva. And the river is shallow at those places where they would ford, but the point is they get pinched out on this bank and then they get pinched out on that bank. So to get up to Villanueva was fording the river 7 times. Only 4 miles length from here to Villanueva. This was the way the people connected with the outside world, up this valley. They didn't come over the mesa. I don't know when that happened. I wish I did. You know, there are 2 roads that lead into the village, and both of them go over the mesas. But that's recent stuff. This was how they went.
Is the road to Bernal still worthless?
It's still worthless. The much better road is the one that goes out to Route 3. That's 6 miles of dirt road. The one to Bernal is 10 miles of dirt road. So they would leave the little fortified plaza that we're going to stand in after we come back. They would come through a major gate and they would come out this way. This was leaving the village, you know. They kind of built the school, which is right here at the outskirts of the village. This was, you know, a recent development as the village evolved. The original village was around the church. This was their orientation in and out of El Cerrito. And indeed, let me comment, because I'm thinking about it, that the early burials, when people died in El Cerrito was founded in 1824. I think the first burial record I found was 1827. And I think it was a young kid that had died and was buried. That kid was not buried here. That kid was buried up in La Cuesta in their graveyard. And indeed, they weren't given permission by the church to bury people here around the churchyard until 1876. So from 1824 to 1876, if you wanted to go visit a relative who'd been buried in a churchyard, you had to go up to La Cuesta. Then they buried them around the church. Then they filled that ground up, literally. And then in 1933, up here on the mesa, the Aragon family gave an acre of land, and so that was where the new cemetery was created, and that thing has a lot of room yet for burials. Okay, listen, anybody have any question during any of this? Y'all just ask, okay? So I'll lead off.